Do you like to Netflix and chill? Well, I'm going to share with you 5 dangers of the Netflix effects and 5 ways to counteract them. Coming up. Hi everyone, this is Ernesto from Attaboy Cowboy, and on this channel we give you health and wealth tips to help you be more successful. In today's video I want to talk about the Netflix effect and 5 dangers you need to be aware of if you're watching a lot of Netflix. Now that goes for all streaming services: Apple, Hulu, Amazon Prime, there's a whole bunch of them, Disney Plus, and there's more coming, HBO Plus. In fact, right now where I'm making this video, there's a big Netflix studio maybe half-mile from here. At the corner there's a prop house, and there's another big movie studio maybe like 3/4 of a mile up the road there. And all of them are making streaming services or streaming movies for videos. So anyway, it's a sign of the times. And as times change, technology changes. And streaming services are a part of life now. It's kind of like when we started using Wi-Fi or using GPS or something like that. And whenever you have a new technology, there's things that we need to be aware of and you need to be careful about that maybe you hadn't thought about before. So before streaming services, I remember I had to go to the movies, I had to pay like $15-20. I had to wait in line, all this other stuff. It took a lot of time out of your schedule. Now you can just turn on your TV and you have literally thousands of movies you can watch across all sorts of different services. In fact, this weekend, I visited 2 of my cousins, and both of them had 5 different services they had subscribed to. 5 of them, that's a lot. So they had 5 different libraries they could flip between, they can watch videos. So this is what gave me the idea for this video. I started thinking about the dangers of watching too much streaming videos. So let me go over those. Number 1. Now this is a researched and proven fact that for every 2 hours that you spend on the couch or just hanging out, chilling, watching TV, you lose 30 minutes of your life. So if you watched Stranger Things this Saturday and you binged for 8 hours, you lost 2 hours. So you might say, hey, well that's not a big deal, it's just 2 hours. But I'm talking about a cumulative effect over the course of your life. You're going to lose that time. And the other thing is that you're going to lose health. Your health is going to decline because you're not being as active and stuff. So it has several different effects on you. Also, you're going to lose productivity. So the first issue is time. You lose 30 minutes of life for every 2 hours, and you're losing productivity. You're not doing other things you could be doing, like reading books, starting businesses, working at your job, or working on your hobby like painting art or singing or acting or writing books or whatever it is you're into. So it kind of takes you away from doing things that maybe are a little more productive for you that you should be doing. Number 2 is you're going to experience, like I mentioned earlier, decreased overall health due to inactivity. Remember, being inactive is bad for your health. It's going to cause you to gain weight. Your muscles are not going to be as strong. Your cardiovascular strength is going to go down. Your endurance is going to go down. So if you work or you have some kind of profession you're in, your endurance is going to be decreased. So you're not going to be able to work as long. So you're not going to be able to work as hard, and you're not going to be as productive. Well, you might say, well, who cares? I work at, Walmart or wherever anyway. I don't care about that. But what if you want to start your own business, or you have your own business? That's going to affect your productivity for your own business and for your career. You're not going to be as productive. That's not a good thing. The other thing in terms of health is you're going to have decreased BDNF production. So what is BDNF? Well, BDNF is a protein that's created in your brain, and it helps maintain the neurons and the nerve cells in your brain. So that's going to make you smarter, you're going to think faster, your memory's going to be better, your reaction time's going to be better, you're going to be reacting better overall. Now, how do you develop this BDNF? One of the major ways to create more of it is through activity. So the more you move, the more you lift weights, the more you run or you jog or you swim or hike or any of that stuff, the more your brain beefs up. It actually gets stronger. Think about it this way. When you lift weights, your muscles get bigger. But while you're lifting weights or while you're hiking, your brain is like a computer. It has to process a lot of information. So if you think about your smartphone, when you turn it on, you're moving between screens, there's a bunch of new information coming on, right? Well, I'm looking at this camera now, and my brain's like a computer. It's processing all the information. It's processing the sounds, the sights, all the sensory information that's coming in from me looking at this camera. Now, if I look over here, automatically my brain has to scan everything because it's new. It's a whole bunch of new information coming into my brain. So your brain is like a computer. It's constantly doing that every time you look around. If you're in your house and you look at the same TV and the same four walls, that's not very stimulating for your brain. So you're not going to be developing very much BDNF. Now, if you go out hiking in Malibu or hiking in Griffith Park or hiking around Disneyland or wherever you live, then that's all new. Even though you've been there before, it's slightly different every time you go. And your brain has to reprocess all that information. So it's very stimulating for your brain to be out in the environment. So if you're at home watching Netflix and chilling, you're missing out on that opportunity to stimulate your brain and create more BDNF. Now, the third factor you need to be aware of is a decreased sex life. Now, this is really interesting because I see this a lot in patients. So a lot of studies are being done on this because we're experiencing decreased fertility rates and decreased birth rates worldwide right now. Now, that's a good thing because we're overpopulated, but scientists want to understand why it's happening. Well, there's a bunch of different reasons it's happening all over the world. One reason is global warming, but in terms of this video, Netflix is affecting a lot of people in the developed countries. It's causing them to decrease their sex drive. Now let's go into why that happens. So people are typically most sexually active through the ages of 18 to 30 years old. So that is the group that was surveyed. Now 66% of people in that age group, 18 to 30 years of age, reported only having sex 2 times a month. And another 18% reported not having sex at all in the last year. That means that only 16% of people in the age group of 18 to 30 years old are having sex more than twice a month. Now, obviously, some of those folks are not having sex for religious reasons or moral reasons or several other reasons. But these people that were surveyed were people that were sexually active. So people that were for religious or moral reasons are actually excluded from this group. These are people that are typically sexually active. Now, most people were really sexually active in their 18 to 30-year-old range. In fact, they were showing graphs of the 60s when they had peace and free love and the hippies and all this kind of stuff. People were having a lot of sex. And ever since that time, it just keeps decreasing. So you might say, well, what's the big deal? Why do people need to have sex? Well, sex is really good for your health. It's good for your physical health and it's good for your psychological health. And it's also good for bonding with other humans, specifically if you have a partner. You have a girlfriend, you have a boyfriend, you fall in love. It's a really beautiful human emotion and it's good for you. So if you're not being intimate with others, or at least one partner, you're missing out on that experience. And one of the things that's causing it is inactivity. When you hang out on the couch too much, your testosterone levels drop as a man. And in the female, same thing, sex drive is going to decrease. So decreased sex drive, you're not going to be having sex as much. Another thing that happens is that people are getting used to looking at screens. Looking at Netflix, looking at Disney Plus, looking at Hulu, And what they do is when they start thinking about sex, they say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to turn some porn on. People are actually watching more porn than previous years. And that's one reason. They're getting used to watching things on screens like phones, tablets, computers, televisions, etc. The more pornos you watch, the less sex you're going to have in real life. The reason being is that sex in a porno is really active. There's all this action, it's exciting, there's all these lights, there's noises and all sorts of stuff, right? You can probably imagine. But in real life, sex isn't always that exciting. It's not on flash frame. If you ever look at a commercial, and then look at a movie that's from the 80s, they look really slow and boring. And then look at a movie that's produced now. They use something called flash frames to keep your attention. What they do is they keep flashing between pictures, between episodes, and between scenes. What that does is it stimulates your brain and keeps you stuck watching that show. That's one of the reasons why people are watching more TV than previously. Movies, television shows were a lot slower before. Try watching The Jeffersons or Stanford and Sons or something like that, one of those classics, or Benji or Lassie. You'll see the movies are really slow. And actually, I watched a few of those, and they seem kind of boring now compared to the new stuff that's so exciting and so stimulating. Well, the same thing happens with porno. If you're watching a lot of porno, they use flash frame. So that's going to be really stimulating for your brain. And then when you have real sex with your partner, you're not going to be as stimulated. So it's not going to be as exciting. So that causes people to start losing interest. So I talked about this with a patient just the other day. He was telling me that he was having problems with his partner. And I asked him, well, how much porn are you watching? I just guessed, and sure enough, he's like, oh, I only watch like an hour or two a day. I thought, well, that's kind of a lot. So that's actually affecting his sex life with his partner. So if you're watching a lot of porn and you're having problems with your partner, you might want to cut down on the porn. That's going to make your actual sex life a lot more active. The fourth issue you need to be aware of is increased social isolation. Now, again, I mentioned I visited one of my cousins this weekend, and I was really sad to say that and see that he told me he hadn't been out of his house like in a few days. And I thought, wow, really? He's been in the house by himself for several days. And I said, why? He goes, well, I've been watching this series and this series, and I guess he didn't have to work. So he was just watching a lot of like Hulu. He likes Hulu. So the problem with that is you're not interacting with other people. So when you become socially isolated, people are literally starving to death emotionally. That's what I'm seeing with a lot of patients. There's a lot of unhappiness and a lot of loneliness. In fact, in the United States right now, and in most developed countries, there's a big spike right now in suicide rates and overall unhappiness. And that a lot of that is being caused by people dedicating a lot of screen time to social media, but a lot of it is to like Netflix and these streaming services. Because people are not finding it necessary to go out, to go to the movies. And when you go to the movies, you usually go with a friend, or you usually go with a girlfriend or something like that. But at home, you don't need to do that. You can just chill out by yourself in front of the TV. So it causes a lot of isolation. So it causes more unhappiness. I'm seeing a big increase in that. Now, issue number 5, I like to call the Netflix effect, because you hear that a lot. And I think it's just causing decreased overall success in people. The Netflix effect is you're seeing college students, I'm seeing people at their jobs that are really tired. So they're staying up all night, they're binging on some show, and they're not getting enough rest. And because they're not getting enough rest, they're not as productive or as successful at school or at work. So what I'll see is I'll see parents or I'll see individuals that say, yeah, I'm late to work all the time. I lost my job. I'm late to school. My grades are dropping. And it's the same thing. They're staying up late at night watching TV shows, sneaking in Netflix or sneaking in Disney Plus or some other show like that, or streaming service, I should say. And again, if you're not spending a lot of time with other people, you're not going to be as well socialized. So you might meet people that are like really interesting, that really like to talk to people, they're really into that. Well, more and more, I'm seeing kids are becoming isolated. I just went to USC this weekend, to my old university, and I walked into the cafeteria and I saw about 20 kids sitting at tables by themselves eating lunch. And I thought, wow, when I went to school here, I would sit like with 3 or 4 of my friends and eat. And we would talk and we would joke and we'd talk about girls or talk about our problems or whatever it is. And if you've ever been to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or anything like that, it feels good to talk to someone and kind of get things off your chest. I get patients all the time that come in and they just want to talk about things that are totally unrelated to their visit. I just listen. It's kind of interesting for me because it gives me some ideas of how to resolve things in my own life. So that's what humans do. We do something called modeling. We learn from one another. We problem solve from one another. I say, hey, you know what? This guy tried this. That's a good idea. This woman tried this. I'm going to try that in my own life. But if you're not interacting with people, you're going to become poorly socialized. You're not going to develop those strategies. And a lot of those strategies are what you need to be successful in your work or your business. So again, number 5, you're going to miss out on a lot of those socialization opportunities. And another interesting fact I learned about streaming is that most people like to binge. I remember in the old days when I used to watch different TV series, and there was one show every week. You had to wait a whole week for the next one. It was kind of like, oh man, I just want to see what happens, Well, we don't have to do that anymore because these streaming services have a library. You can see 100 shows if you want. But unfortunately, that causes people to hang out more on the couch. They say that most people watch, on average, from 2 to 8 shows at a time when they watch a television show of their choice. So that's a lot of time to be sitting down, chilling out, watching TV, and you're missing out on a lot of things. Because remember, your most valuable resource is time. It's not your money. It's not your clothes or your houses or your fancy car or any of that stuff. It's your time. Time is the only resource that you cannot reproduce. You cannot buy more of it. You can't, that's it. Once you waste it, it's gone. And before you know it, you're out of here. You're reincarnating, you're starting another life. So try to be more productive with that time that you have. It's so special. So let me give you 5 strategies on how to counteract some of the negative effects of watching Netflix or streaming services. Strategy number 1. Now, I don't actually have a TV in my house, so I don't watch TV, but I do like to watch TV with my sisters. They like to watch Netflix, they like to watch Disney Plus. So if you're gonna watch a streaming service, go watch it with a friend or a family member. So that way you're doing 2 things at the same time. You're socializing, you're spending some time with someone special, and you're watching something interesting together. And during the movie, things come up. You start talking, it's kind of fun to hang out. So that's the first strategy. Find someone to watch TV shows with. Strategy number 2, watch your shows while you're at the gym. Now, I like to say that I see this a lot when I'm at the gym. It's pretty neat. I'm at the gym working out, or I'll go get on the elliptical or the bike or whatever, and I'll see someone with a TV propped up. Oh, actually, their smartphone propped up, and they're watching a movie on there, and they have headphones on. That's really cool, because if you want to watch a TV series, go for it. Just do it while you exercise. That way you're being productive, and it kind of distracts you. So it forces you to do more exercise than you normally would. A lot of studies support that. So that's the reason why when you go to the gym, they have all this booming music, they have televisions everywhere. That's to distract you so you'll enjoy the experience. You'll want to go there and do more exercise. So why not watch some of those shows you've been wanting to watch while you're exercising? Strategy number 3, take a break. If you're gonna binge and you're gonna watch, 8 shows, do some exercise between each episode. So I watch half an hour, now I'm gonna do 25 push-ups and 25 sit-ups. I watched half an hour, now I'm gonna walk down to the corner and I'm gonna walk back. I watched a half hour and I'm gonna go wash my bathroom. I watched a half hour, now I'm gonna cook dinner. I watched a half hour, now I'm gonna wash the dishes. So break it up so that you're not sitting in one place for too long. That's what's really bad for you, is just being in one spot, not moving a lot. You want to make sure you're getting up and you're doing activities. So try to introduce some activities that you need to do during your screen time. Strategy number 4, get some exercise equipment for your home that you can use while you're watching TV. I had a friend that had a stationary bike and he liked to watch college football. So I would go over and hang out with him, we would watch football games, and he would exercise on his bike. And I thought that was awesome. So I do the same thing. When there's football games I want to watch, I'll actually go to the gym and just get on the bike and just ride the bike real mellow for 2 hours while I watch the game. That way I'm getting my exercise and I'm watching the TV show or the football game without sitting there for a couple hours. Strategy number 5. Now this is my favorite strategy, and I like to multitask. So if I have a lot of work to do that is kind of monotonous, doesn't take a lot of brain power, I'll actually take it with me and sit down with my sisters to watch a movie. And while I'm watching the movie, I'm doing my work. Now, if it's something really tedious where I really need to focus, like writing a book, I won't do that, because that's a lot of information that I need to develop in my brain. I need to critical think. I can't personally do that with the TV screen going in front of me. Some people can. But I do have to edit my books or edit some of the manuscripts I've written or whatever the case might be, or look for art for book covers. If I'm doing stuff like that, I can definitely watch a movie, because I can just do my spell check, I can screen over, I can format my book, or I can work on my work from my day job, etc. So I try to combine activities so that I'm being productive. My key thing is being productive. I don't want to just sit there for 2 hours and lose 2 hours to watching some movie. I mean, I'm happy to watch the movie, but I want to do something that I need to get done, like pay my bills, open my mail, etc. So the point is, like anything in life, you have to use it in moderation and adjust yourself, and don't allow this new technology to cause harm to you. And you want to definitely enjoy all the benefits that it offers, because it is really cool to just be able to turn on the TV and watch some movies. So again, thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please comment below. Thank you.